This is Hydrosketch tutorial 10. Here we're going to cover some shortcuts and how to do things more efficient using some of the editing capabilities of Hydrosketch, such as copy, moving, deleting, and putting objects forward, meaning on top of other objects so you can see them. Let's start out with copy first. In order to copy an object, you select it. You can right click your mouse on that and hit copy. What that does is it throws a copy of that entity into a buffer, and now you can right click and hit paste, and it pastes a duplicate of that particular object. One thing I didn't mention in the title is about scaling. You can scale something just by clicking on the object, grabbing the corner and moving the corner up or down. Notice the ports on that. Let me go to view ports, show all ports. The ports are showing on that, and they do scale in the right position. So now this pump is smaller than this pump. You can also do the same thing. Now that you've got it scaled, you can do copy paste again, and now when you paste, it'll paste a smaller version of that scale version. You may find the duplicate command a little easier rather than copying and pasting. If you click on an object, right click and hit duplicate, it basically does the same thing as copy paste. Click on this object, then right click, and then hit duplicate, and it duplicates that object. I've talked about groups in other videos. If I want to duplicate these objects, I can try to select them all, but it won't duplicate them all unless they're grouped. So now let's say I right click and say duplicate, it'll only duplicate the object I right clicked on. So it will not duplicate all of them unless you group them first. The next command is moving. You can move an object by clicking on it and then just take your mouse, right click, hold it down and drag it out. What you can also do is while you've got it selected, you can also use the up arrow and down arrow as well as left and right arrow to move that object very precisely. So you could do a gross move with the mouse, and then if you wanted to center it and get it right next to that, you could use the arrow keys to center it properly and get it over where you wanted it. The next command is forward, putting objects on top of other objects. In this particular case here, I have a diamond on top of the connector. It's not connected in any way to the connector, and it's on top of it, whereas this one is below it. Now how you do that is you can move the object around and try to place it on top. But notice it's still underneath. This particular one is still below the connector. What you can do to make it forward is just double click on that object, and that object comes forward. You would double click on the connector, and the connector would come on top of it. But you can see it came on top of this one also, so now I want this one on top, so I'll double click on that. And the same with this arrow. I can double click on the boiler and the arrow, and this line is now behind the boiler. If I double click on the line, it becomes on top of the boiler. I double click on the arrow, it becomes on top of the boiler. I have a port inserted into the object. I got that under shapes. It was up in here. Grab that, you bring that in. Now you have another port. With ports, they're a little bit more difficult to move. You can't just grab them like that. You're not moving it. This is really trying to connect it up. So that's not what that is not a move. You actually have to surround it in a window. Now you have it captured. Now, oops. The way you move it is you can now draw a window around it, drag a window through it, and now take that window and move that port around. Again, you can use your arrow keys to very accurately move that port around. And that's it for editing in Hydrosketch. Thanks. For more tutorials and related hydronics videos, subscribe to Hydronic Pro's YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button on the lower right-hand corner of the screen.